Good evening, and thank y'all for taking your time out to come be a part of this discussion. I'm intentionally coming without prepared remarks. That was not by accident, that was by intent. My role in the legislature is to listen to all sides of it. I've been at this since HB 72. I was on the school board back when this all started. So I've seen the pendulum at all positions as we've seen that pendulum of testing and accountability swing. I just want to talk with you a little bit about where I think I see this headed. Your presence here tonight and the message across the state is clear, including Mothers Against Drunk Testing, who are down here on the front row. I point y'all out at every opportunity. I think the message politically is clear, that people are tired of the overemphasis of testing and how it's used and abused and all that. I think that message has been received and noted. I've talked with folks up and down the spectrum of political involvement over the last weeks and months, and I think that message is clear. The question then becomes, where do we go from there? And how do we find a path forward in the legislative process? I'm going to put in a plug here. Some of you may know this. Several months ago, I started a blog. I'd never done a blog before in my life. I'm an Aggie. I mean, what do you expect? And the theme of the blog, it's called rethinktexas.org, by the way, for those of you that are taking notes. The theme of the blog is not about complaining. We've heard that message loud and clear. The question is, what do we do now? And we have a variety of things before us. Part of it has to do with what we're requiring as far as expectations for graduation, for promotion. And that's one set of issues. Closely connected with that is the thought of how we measure a student's progress and how we deal with that measurement. The state's not going to turn loose with $34 billion a biennium without some measurement of how a child is doing, how children across Texas are doing. That's just not going to happen, I don't think. The other part of that has to do with how we rank school systems. I think when you look at what we're doing and we say we have one test on one day that measures the student, trying to measure the teacher's effectiveness, trying to measure the campus, trying to measure the district, and to some degree trying to measure the effectiveness of the state teaching system. One test, one day. That's not reasonable. For anybody that's been around student testing, I think you would agree that trying to do all of those things with one test given on one day is simply not a reasonable approach. So what do we do? I think we have to redesign multiple strategies that lets a child find their path, find their way through becoming what they want to become and what they and their parents want them to become. And we need some flexibility in our curriculum models and requirement models in order to do that. I think on the far end of that, when we go to ranking school districts or school campuses, if you go to that blog, you'll find that I think we need to find multiple ways of measuring, not just one test, one day. And a lot of this stuff is already designed. Certainly, I think testing needs to be a part of that formula. I'm not saying we should do away with testing by any means, but I am saying that we need other metrics to decide whether school is doing well or not doing particularly well, and whether the state system is doing well or not doing particularly well. So I'm looking for strategies. What I've requested on the blog is that you not Tell me your complaints. Tell me your ideas. Because down the street in that big pink building, sooner or later, everything that's going to affect your child or your student has to become what we call a bill. And simply saying, I don't like what we're doing, doesn't get us a bill. Give me suggestions talking about paragraph, line, and code numbers in that education code. Talk to me about places we can save money on some of the funding and testing. Give us ideas, and let's have a vigorous exchange of ideas. I have an objective for the session, and I won't call the names here, but the folks at the table know. There are folks who are diametrically opposed on this issue, all of whom have talked to me. I've met with just about everybody in this discussion, including Pearson. And I can tell you that the great majority of folks that I deal with, I genuinely believe want what's best for students in the state of Texas. I think they want to have students move the right direction. Do they agree and do they have a variety of opinion? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the folks in the big pink building have to try to form some consensus of what the public wants and what the children need. And so to that degree, let me encourage you to be part of this debate, and let's have input about how we find a strategy moving forward. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.